So we were talking in our last episode about DNA and stuff, and I actually I'm putting together a new show, and I just did an episode with Flomo actually because we're both Caribbean of Caribbean descent. So I did a show. I'm doing a show about being Caribbean, and I've been because of my DNA. So if you did a DNA test with Ancestry.com, they did a huge update apparently, a worldwide update. It's supposed to make it even more accurate. You're the markers you come from, where you come from. As my daughter told me, because she's like, "Oh my God, I'm more this and less that, and what happened?" So we all look at our things. So it's funny. So for me, okay, so it's all percentages of like say where they map out where you can what genes and DNA you pick up from your family on each side. Now you can do both sides. Now it's like your mother and father they tell you.
Okay.
So at one point when you add everything up, I was 42% white. Then it increased to 55% white.
Hmm.
So, and the people were like, well, I'm saying it's about the marker, just about your DNA, not about your coloring, it's about your DNA.
Right.
I'm now back down to 50%. And it's funny what I'm losing and gaining. So, my biggest white is Scottish, in Scotland.
Oh, interesting.
That's Flobo's also. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know. I had no clue. But my second biggest white emerged. I lost my French. I was mostly French. And I thought, oh, yeah, Creole and all that. Oh, no, that went down like to 1%. What emerged was Spain.
Well,
I mean,
okay.
it makes sense. The
Yeah.
Caribbean, Spanish,
Yeah.
but I had no Spain in me at first when I was doing it.
Hmm.
So what that means at home, folks like, well, that means just means that since everybody else is doing their family trees and it populates more, it's supposed to make it more accurate for everybody.
Hmm.
With a mark, because then it's supposed to link up which mark, if your grandmother does it or your uncle, that lady touches which markers you take from them.
Right.
So, but it makes sense because I come from the Caribbean, and there you go, Spanish. I also got more indigenous people because I actually have family from reservations here in America,
Okay.
and I got indigenous, so I got more of that. I have Asian, Southeast Asian, which I'm not surprised. I have Asian in my family also. I told you that before. I have Asian in my family.
Hmm.
Not surprised with that. But I'm more Nigerian than anything else. It's really funny. I got more. I'm like 27% Nigerian.
Wow.
It went up even more. I mean, and the Nigerians say I look like them, so it's kind of funny. And the Congolese, I got less of them, but they say I look like them too. But my numbers went down. I got Nigerian wetlands and North Nigeria. I'm like, I didn't know they had all the kind of Nigerias.
That's
So
pretty specific. They're actually talking regions now.
yes, that's what I'm saying. That's kind of the point. They want to show you, like I have Northwest Europe, and that was always on there, but now I have Netherlands.
Oh,
And I was like, that I've Dutch on both sides of my family, so I'm like, I was waiting for that to show up. It didn't show up until now.
right.
But they're linking people's tree, my uncle's tree, they're linking to my tree, so they're starting to link our trees together, and so it's very interesting to see what it is. But I'm 50% white and 50% other, like black or of color of other. So I'm like right in the middle. I look like this.
That is fascinating. Look like this.
I look like these, and then I have that.
These are we do? Oh, we're continuing on our word.
The
These.
accents. I look like
These.
these. Yeah,
These.
I look like these. We drink our coffee. Um, it's just very, very interesting because we were talking about your man, Les. Let's call him Len.
Yes.
I don't know why I can't remember. I've never called him that before. So Les was doing about his genealogy too, and so I mean I know you're mostly Armenian. I know from your most part for you.
Well, from what I know,
That's true. That's true.
yes. My mom's side, Armenian. My dad's side, probably a good mix like you, Europe, East, like all that Western Europe, whatever. I don't really know some Indian. This is just what I've been told. I have an ancestry kit
Take it.
and I just haven't done it.
Do it. That'd be a good show for us. Do it. See what your results are. Do it for
So
content. Do it for content. Do it
good
for
for content.
everything's content. Me and my sister.
You're so funny, Jay. You're the content guy, not me. I show up to have coffee with a good friend.
Yes, they do. But tell us some tea too about who you are, who you is, who is she?
Who I
Yeah,
was,
who you used to was, and who you
who I
is.
used to was.
Mm, we want to know. Yeah, I know. Because what if you got African in you? That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know. It could be like one of those, oh my God, or oh my God.
Well, because
What?
Armenia is Eastern Europe, right?
No.
Yeah, please
Let
tell
me
me.
think about this. Um,
I never can tell where Armenia is.
no, Armenia is in
I'm looking up to you. Look it up. I'm gonna look it up to you.
yeah, I want to be right about it when I say it
Oh, it's
because I
West.
don't want
It's
to.
West Asia.
Yeah, it was something that you wouldn't expect, and that's why I wanted to look it up before. I don't want to be disrespectful,
Yeah, it's
and
a
the answer is I don't know, but it's not where you think it is.
yeah. It's West Asia. Okay,
So yeah,
it is. Yeah, it's in the South Caucasus, but it's in West Asia. Okay, it's near Turkey. Okay, over there.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I
The
mean,
Turkish and the
Asia,
Armenians have
Africa.
like this huge history. It's
Yes. Well,
the
my whole point.
history.
Oh, go ahead.
People, it's funny that I would say that history is ugly.
Well, yeah, apparently, right?
Very, very ugly. And then when you think about it, there were all these conquerors and these regimes that were coming into power that their whole play was, we'll just eliminate who we don't want here. And it's yeah, that happened. So we still see that today in certain parts of the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was definitely, the Armenians were definitely a target. Smaller country, just very, wasn't a country at one point. I don't know. It's a little confusing because it dates back so far,
Yeah.
and I haven't done my homework on it.
Yeah,
So
that's what I'm. It's just well, obviously in LA, it's a huge Armenian community, and obviously there was a genocide. Was it 1908, I think, or something? 1906.
yeah, it's an ugly history. It's not.
The whole thing about that.
It is. It's not pretty.
So yeah, it goes back to like 16th century BC. Wow,
Long time.
a long. You're right. It's a long time. And Yerevan's largest city. Um, it is a unitary parliamentary republic. They have a prime minister there. And let's see, population around 3 million in the country, 3 million in the government. So Armenia is a unitary, multi-party, democratic nation state with an ancient cultural heritage. That's what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And they're calling it a developing country. Where we
Mm-hmm.
changed words. We don't say third world all that stuff anymore. It's a developing nation.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, but so I just know it's a large, and I know the genocide people. So you guys in Los Angeles celebrate that with parades and remembrance.
Yeah. Yeah. It was yeah, something else. So yeah, there's a rich culture rooted in food and music and dance. That I know.
You know that one.
I
Yeah.
know that one. I know, of course, the genocide, and I know of other things, but I really have not studied the history of Armenia. I know that it has a violent history.
So your parents didn't push that towards you. You weren't. Were
Well,
you?
my mom, no, because my mom was raised in an American household. Um, and my grandmother was also raised here. And then my great grandmother, I think, was also raised here, but I'm not 100% sure that she didn't
Well,
immigrant here. So my great grandmother spoke fluent. My grandma spoke. My mom did not speak the language. So, and my dad was an American man, so he was like, toss it up, right? He said, I'm a toss salad.
yeah.
Um, so we were raised in an American household. So no, but I had friends who were in Armenian schools growing up and spoke fluent and everything. So yeah.
Well, I just know that it's just very interesting. Immigrant families who come over, depending on the generations, how long you've been here. how much that either stays or goes. I mean, when it comes to
Yeah.
traditions and language.
What I find is that if you've got three generations in a household and the grandparents don't speak English, the grandkids speak fluent so they can communicate with family, and then they learn, through the school system how to speak English. So yeah, it's fascinating sometimes to sit there because, well, I have several friends who speak their grandparents' native tongue, right? But have been in America their whole lives. And so,
Yeah, that's what Flo and I talked about. He was born here. His parents were from Barbados. They came here.
oh, okay.
So he's first generation American and living the two worlds of that.
Are they still there? Are his parents
They're,
still
they're,
with us?
they're, those parents are in New York. They're in New York where he grew up.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, like my grandmother, they came over from the West Indies and from Puerto Rico and then stayed in New York.
Okay.
Some families, like you said, him too. Some families stayed back. Others came for better opportunities, obviously, in
Right.
the 50s and 60s or whatever, came out this way. And some say so you have that line between the two. Our friend Caesar, who's been on here, he, was born in Mexico, but he came here when he was 10, and his whole
Right.
family is here, and he was raised, he's in his 40s now. Some family, like, there's just like this kind of, how much do you take with you? How much gets passed down? I know
Yeah.
with my kids and grandkids, they don't speak Spanish, and
Mhm.
that's my fault. I mean, that's like, and my sister's going through the same thing with her grandkids because the kids speak Spanish, but the grandkids don't, and they don't have no interest in learning. So it's like some of my stuff has kind of gone away, and I just haven't pushed it as hard.
Right.
I'm the grandparent. I just haven't pushed it as hard. I'm a bad grandparent. I just haven't. And I live the traditions, and they get the multiculturalism from us, kind of. But this new set of grandkids, they might get it because my
Yeah.
daughter is very much kind of into like she likes tradition and stuff. So I'll be curious. Her mom is Indian, Black, and Mexican, and there's me. Everything else. So
Right.
and we and we and she called herself triracial growing up, so to speak, and she
Wait,
looks
wait, wait. What was the word she called?
triracial. She had
Right.
two or three different races
Yeah.
behind her.
Yeah.
And she always got the "What are you?" when she was growing up.
Right.
What are you?
Right.
What are you? What are you? Because like, are you black? You're not fully white, but you don't look Hispanic. Like they don't do it there. And so then she of course marries a half Jamaican, half Filipino.
Okay.
My grandkids they're beautiful. I mean, we were
I
scared.
bet. The first thing that popped in my mind, and please, people listening, don't hold this against me. Beautiful skin.
Oh, they do. They both do. Yeah, they both have beautiful skin. They do.
Beautiful skin. That's the first thing that popped in my head with those two combos. I'm like, oh,
And they have lots of hair.
oh, good. Yeah. Lots of hair. Well, you have lots of hair.
Yes, my mother. We all have lots of hair in my family. But the kids, they're both boys. One looks Filipino,
Okay.
and one looks black.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were like, they could have turned out anything. I mean, they could have came out any color. We were very scared.
Right.
But they're beautiful. My God, they're so yeah, I love them so much. They're beautiful. I can eat them. They're so beautiful.
Oh,
But I think with her, it was like the others didn't know my path, didn't know our. They met their great grandmother. They know
okay.
stuff, but it's like we just didn't push any of the. They know certain foods and things. We didn't push it on them.
Right.
This next group, they may actually grow up with it, with the Creole food and all that stuff. Like, and my grandkids, I introduced some Creole food stuff growing up, and they like it. They like alligator bites and things like that. They like certain things like that. Now it's my influence in there, but yeah, we didn't push it. So it's funny you didn't get it pushed either. You didn't get the straight up. Because again, here in Los Angeles, there's a huge Armenian community, and it's really strong.
Very strong.
You weren't pushed that way.
Very, very strong. And like I said, when my great grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, because we were fortunate to have four generations, not just alive, but living and celebrating holidays and birthdays together. Like all the women in my family had children young. So I had four generations at one point that was going strong in my family, which I love the idea of that. So I actually knew I didn't go just visit grandma. I knew my great grandmother. Like we spent time with her. And she spoke it and she read the teacups. We would go up sometimes and she would do reads. So there's also that part of the culture and yours too, and some of yours that, they believe in.
Yes, they do.
How would you describe it, James? They believe
Well,
in
it's partly spiritual, not religious, but spiritual,
spiritual. Yes.
otherworldly.
Right.
You
A
see, in
little
my
witchy
culture,
sometimes.
I was gonna say in my cultures, they believe in voodoo, they believe in
Yes.
spells, they believe
Yeah.
in karma, they believe in
Yeah.
kids. Yes, no,
Yeah.
some parts of my family they told it down in the Caribbean and also Louisiana, they believed all that stuff. I
Absolutely. And so we have those roots too in our culture.
yeah,
The evil eye was a big
evil
one
eye,
with my grandmother.
yes, evil eye.
So, you grow up, listening and understanding, but I love to have my tea. I didn't care what it was. It was just fun,
Yeah,
and of course my great grandmother was always going to say like only positive things, right?
right.
To her great grandkids.
No, I like that too. I had my great grandmother until I was 25.
Oh, that's great.
My
Yeah.
mother, my mother's father's mother, and I was close to her. Like we were, like you said, we were
Yeah.
close. Because again, we had kids young. So my
Right.
other great grandmothers, I didn't know they died before I was born. Well, I was young. The first one died.
We're
But
lucky. We're very lucky.
yes, so we are. And I think my kids know their great grandmother. I knew their great greats because the way I had kids young too, so we all have. So they got to know they know who Miss Benita is.
Well, I think it's nice because you really have a sense of where you come from, you
Yes,
know, because you get to see multi generations and there's just a sense of, okay, I know where I come from. And that's why when you hear about adoptions and they want to know their birth parents, I get that. Although that didn't happen in my life, but I understand that need to want to know like where I come from, who are these people, what were they like, what are they like? Like I understand that.
I was with
So
our friend Marissa, who's been on the show,
yes.
house the other day, and she's adopted, and
Mhm.
so she comes from her parents adopted 5 children.
Oh wow.
So there's no
Good.
biological children in the family.
Right.
All 5, and that's it's very interesting. 3 white, 2 Asian. And Marissa, of course, is on the show. She's Filipino. Her brother, who was adopted, he's Korean. So they're even different Asian. They're not the same Asian.
Mhm.
And I always ask her, I was like, how, this is my mom and dad and blah, blah, blah. And she grew up in rural in Illinois. And she was the only Asian in the whole county, the whole thing. And that's why she's in LA, trying to get out of there. But she loves her parents. And she goes, and she does in this, she goes, every once in a while, she was like, I think about maybe what could have been or who, what. But it's like, but for her, she was so well taken care of.
Yeah.
The nurture really did, I guess, lessen the
Yeah.
need. I guess I don't know. My other friends who are adopted, they want to know everything. Like I grew up, they were searching for everything.
Well, I think that also if you get sick, if you're unfortunate enough to get sick early on in life, you do want to understand, is this a genetic thing? Because if there it is, that could shape like how you proceed in your life, like having kids, not having it, like all of that stuff, you know, could come into play. And I know that it comes out a lot with like medical issues. Like, huh. So like when the doctor's asking me, does this run in your family? I'm like, I'm split on both sides. Like my dad did not have a relationship with his dad. My mom did not have a relationship with her birth father. So I don't know. I'm
Wow.
literally at a loss.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, that's just the way, it happens in some families. So
You know, the whole thing about the for me, it'd be just weird not to look at somebody and they don't look like you. That to me would be kind of weird. It's like, well, obviously I have the opposite. I have my mother who looks just like me. But I
yes,
have
you do.
that's all
Miss
no,
Benita, shout out.
As
Hey.
Medina, that's an anomaly. That's something that's I'm her twin. But I mean, I have relatives who look like me also. Like we look like each other. Like we look
Yeah.
related. I have cousins, we get together, we all smile the same. Like to go somewhere you don't have that, it must be a trip. It must be a trip.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, it's like just being in life. Just everywhere you go, people don't
Yeah.
look like
Well, I
you.
literally have a doppelganger from the womb with my identical twin.
Oh yes,
So
yes, yes.
I grew up looking in a mirror essentially my whole life. And that can be kind of weird too.
Yeah.
That whole, wait, what we have, I was in denial for so long. Melanie will laugh. I always strive for independence. But the fact is, we have so many physical similarities, the way we talk, the way we move, even some of our gestures are exactly the same. And I was always like, no, I've got my own thing. Bullshit.
Yes.
I now have arrived at an age where I can look at her and go, oh my God, that is me. I
Yes.
am her.
Yes.
She is me.
Yes. Well, same thing. My mother, she will pull stuff on me and look at it and I go, oh my God, that's my look.
Yeah.
I can read my mind.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm thinking, and we'll start laughing. I go, I know what you're thinking, because that's how I would look when I was thinking the same thing. She's like, oh my God. Like, it's just, I mean, it is like, my face is your face. Like, I'm like,
Yes.
I want to see your face. I go, look in the mirror. Well, I would go tea. I look at
True.
any difference. I would shave my goatee. I was the same face. I guess it's so, you're right. It's so weird to look at
Yeah.
somebody and you really literally see yourself in there. You see yourself reflected right back at you.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I have that. I don't know any better. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
there. So for me, but it's funny to think about like this whole denial of like, oh no, we're identical twins, but we're not the same. Come on. Why was I lying to myself this whole time?
Because you want independence. You want to be like, because you want to
I
have your
wanted to be
own.
my own person.
Yes. And you were brought in with a person with you.
Yeah,
And
it was so funny. What one trip I watched my sister. I'm a little protective too. It's really weird. And again, I don't know where that's coming from,
when
but I
they,
watched her walk. We're at a casino and I watched her walk from the cage back to like our gaming area where we were. I'm like, oh my God, that's my gait. We have the same walk. Like just being able to observe her and go, that's me. Like that's what I look like. It's
now,
weird.
my mother and I, we realized we laughed alike until one day someone goes, oh my God, it's like stereo. We're standing on both sides. And he goes, like stereo. We're like, oh my God, we do laugh alike. We're the same height. We laugh alike. The whole thing is like, it's really,
Yeah.
it's really weird. You're like, oh,
But
okay.
you're in a category where that is not normal.
No, I know.
That that you were so alike, right? And I don't mean normal like abnormal. I just meant
I
like
don't know.
most, mothers and sons really are not mere images of each other. You and Miss Benita are like, wait, what? What is happening here?
We go to in public together, especially when she was even a little younger and I was a little younger, and we go to banks and stuff together. People they would like stare, and I was like, yeah, we always go, yes, we know, and we have Gap right, same Gap right, I mean everything, like literally it's the same.
I know. I've seen you too. So
I
I'm
know,
like,
I
wait,
know,
no, no. It's true,
I know.
folks.
For
Literally.
Halloween, I was her
They
for
are
Halloween.
identical twins, but they're not.
We're not right. My coloring's a little different. My hair's a little different. Like we go to nitpicking a little, like I mean, because I have my
Well,
father,
yeah.
but it is similar enough. Our facial feature is similar enough that
Yes.
it is an anomaly. I mean, Bette Midler has a daughter the same way. If you just Google
Oh,
Bette Midler's
really?
daughter, they're twins. So it does happen. It's funny what you gather. Because when I look at my father back in the day, not now, he's old and wrinkled, but back in the day, I see me in there. I totally see me in there. It's like, it's a whole, we forget the coloring and all that. He's very light skinned and all that, but our foreheads are kind of similar and our demeanor is similar a little bit, how we carry ourselves in business. But then you go back to Benita, but because she's absorbed me so much, it's almost hard to see that. And I was like, but no, I see it. I totally see it. I don't want to see it, but I do see it in there.
Yeah.
But it's that she and I are so much. It's crazy because you and I both know there are people who are identical twins
Mhm.
or close enough that really aren't that identical. I mean,
Right.
they're almost fraternal, but it's like some that where they're one's a little taller than the other, or their eyes a little more this way. I guess there's a couple things where you're like,
Mhm.
okay, so they're considered identical, but I can tell the difference.
Well, it's funny you say that because there are those same character traits. Like she is a little taller than me.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So she carries her weight differently than I carry my weight, which then you go, okay, so there's not that identicalness there.
Yeah.
And there are different facial structures, which is weird again. But in general, we're identical.
Yeah. Yeah. You look great. You look great.
It's crazy. Like we walk in and people are always asking, "Are you twin?" Now that we're similar weight, like if one's thinner or heavier than the other, like, "Are you sisters?" But now that we're kind of even, they're like, "Are you guys twins?" So we've gotten both throughout our lives, and we dressed very differently. There was
Yeah.
that kind of stuff that does change the
Yes.
impression, but now we're identical twins.
That's hilarious. I have two friends, Sean and Monique, where one got a breast reduction, the other one didn't at first. And it really, I mean, they look really identical, but there was like a difference. You're like, oh my goodness, getting that breast reduction was like a real shape difference. Then the other got
Yes.
it too finally, and then so now they're back to like being looking again. But it was like, yeah, so there was a real difference in just body type and stance and the whole thing.
Right. And
Back down.
you say in Hollywood where we live, right? A breast reduction, unheard of. Oh my God, why would you get rid of Look, ladies, it's not all it's cracked up to be. When you have naturally large breasts,
For
these women
large.
suffer. Like,
And I'm allowed to say this. We've talked about it before, she and I, on public, but they were like F's and G's.
oh my goodness.
And when they had kids, they were like H's. They had to go
Oh my
back then.
goodness.
They had to go get bras online that were made for
Of
them,
course.
and extenders and stuff, all that kind of stuff, because it was just so big. So their backs were really hurting. It was really hurting. It was like hurting. That's a lot of pounds to carry
It
around.
is
So a lot of
pulling you down,
yes, a
like
lot of bras don't
pulling you.
support. They don't. They don't. You think you just put a bra on? No, that's not how that.
That's not it.
Right.
Yeah.
That
And you don't
is.
wear, you also don't wear a bra 24/7
No.
either.
No. Right.
So, but
So
some women with very large natural breasts do have to wear, think about that, women, a bra 24/7 to try and stay more upright because their back issues are real.
yes, pinched nerves, curvature of
Everything.
the spine, everything could happen from that. So I felt for them. So when they got down to just double D's, it
Yeah,
was like there was a big difference. It was like
I
my
bet.
mother, she lost some of her breasts too, just from when she had cancer and stuff. She's down maybe to a C now, or whatever. She
Yeah.
was like double D too at one point. And she kind of, I lost my breasties. I don't know where they went, girl. They went somewhere. But that was it. I mean, it's just kind of funny how that with the twins though, they both were the same, Dolly
Yeah.
Parton twins. Then one went small. Like, oh, there's a difference. It's kind of weird, a little
Yeah.
difference. But the other ones joined in. I don't think they're the same, but they're like similar cup size. Much more manageable stuff that they're talking.
Right.
And
Well,
that's just kind of and that happened with someone with twins. It's really funny. You can look kind of related and look like, and then also look very different.
yes.
But that's your image right there. Like, so I know that's like my image is right there. I go, okay, I'll probably look good in another 20 years. Okay, that'll be good. So
Yeah.
we're 18 years apart in age too, so we're young in age. So I'm like, oh, okay, not that far off. And we told people we were twins. People believed it. They didn't care. They believed it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just like
Well,
kids goes, I am James's. I'm his mom. I'm not really. So we were laughing. I go, it's okay. It's like, okay. Yeah, you can laugh over that. So this is episode 97 of Coffee
wow.
Conversation with James
Nice.
and
Melissa.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that this little idea several years ago
Yeah.
is almost at 100 episodes.
Yes.
And we're going to plan something, you guys. We're working on something. But right now, we're
Yes.
getting through these last couple because the holidays are coming up and stuff. So she and I are going to continue talking off camera about that. But we'll get out 98 and 99. There'll be two more.
Yep.
And then we'll talk about 100. We're gonna work on that. So one of her things was getting a shirt. She got a shirt. She got a shirt. Okay, we got our shirts. We got our shirts. So we'll be good. So that's amazing. But we will have something for 100. We think about something for 100. Maybe in person. We were together. Maybe they were thinking of. I got equipment and stuff. Thinking
Yeah.
something,
Yeah. Yeah.
something good. So we might do that. I might be sitting in her office. Who knows? But keep on my lap. I don't know. Sorry. Well, come on, girl, get on my lap. No, she's big. So who knows? But we appreciate you guys. Listen, go back to our old episodes and listen to see what we're talking about back then if you want to go back and see what we're talking about. And check us out. We are everywhere, all those streaming platforms and YouTube at JLJ Media. That's right, kids. We'll see you next Monday again with another episode of Coffee and Conversation.